Hello, my name is Andrei Fedorov. I'm with Brigham and Women's Hospital, and today I want to give you a brief introduction into the capabilities we plan to have in the NCI Imagen Data Commons. I present this work on behalf of the team. Our team includes participants from a number of institutions. The award is made to the Mass General Brigham in Boston. We have cloud architecture led by Bill Longaboy at Institute for Systems Biology. And we have a variety of expertise ranging from security, standards and use case developments and image visualization on the team. The background for Imagen Data Commons is that the Joe Biden cancer moonshot effort aimed to identify the key hurdles in treating cancer by the scientists. And one of those hurdles was identified as the difficulties related to sharing data and being able to disseminate knowledge effectively. It was determined that building cloud infrastructure is one of the key priorities for the community, and that's what led to the development of the Cancer Research Data Commons. That includes a number of components to facilitate cloud-based research and data sharing. Imagen Data Commons is one of the new nodes that is coming online this fall. And the idea is that IDC should connect researchers with the data hosted on the cloud, infrastructure to explore, query, and analyze this data, and also connect the investigators with the related data, not just imaging data, but so that you can use genomics and other types of data on the cloud. It's important to keep in mind that IDC is just one of the components of the bigger infrastructure, and there are other key components there, such as NCI cloud resources, infrastructure for authentication, and data indexing as an example. The award was made last summer to develop this platform. It's funded under a contract from Leidos NCI. Our plan is to have the initial release of the platform this fall. And the scope of the platform will be support of radiology data. Data will be coming from the Cancer Imaging Archive that some of you may be familiar with. Next year, we plan to have production release, and in addition to handling radiology data, also include support for digital pathology and perhaps other types of data. What are the goals and core functions of IDC? Our main function is to enable cloud-based analysis. That's our mission. We want to make sure that the cloud can be used effectively and can advance the discovery in cancer imaging research. In order to do this, we also want to establish the best practices for performing fair, findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable science on the cloud. And to do that, our goal is to leverage various standards and best practices and demonstrate how those best practices can be implemented. Our goal is not just to implement the resource, but also develop use cases, real life scientific analysis that demonstrate how this resource can be helpful. And in order to do this, we are planning to explore analytical workflows in radiology, pathology, and also integration of these types of data with other domains. Everything that we develop in IDC will be released as open source. We are hoping that the tools we develop will be usable and helpful outside of IDC. And finally, the last mission of IDC listed here is building on the community. We want to create a forum where scientists, engineers, developers, clinicians can come together to understand what are the unmet needs and how we can move the science forward. This is the vision of the workflow that we have in mind for IDC and for interaction with the end user. The idea is that without having to install anything on your computer, you should be able to come to the resource, quickly browse the available public data sets, identify data sets that are of interest for your specific use case, utilize that resource to explore various attributes of the cohort, look at the images, check the quality, perhaps apply tools that are readily available without, again, having anything to install on your computer. And then once you have confidence in the data, you can deploy a virtual machine on the cloud, have your analysis tools on the cloud with the data co-located with the computation and do the analysis on the cloud. And once you perform this exploratory analysis on a single workstation on the cloud, you can scale it up and run batch processing on large amounts of data using the cloud resources effectively. In the end, what cloud can also allow us to do is to make sure that the analysis results and the workflows we develop can be easily shared with others and can be more reproducible. So what I want to do next is to show you some of the components of Imagen Data Commons when it becomes live. What you see here is the front page portal that will be entry point to Imagen Data Commons. It will provide the capabilities to filter the data based on the metadata available in DICOM. You will be able to get a quick summary in terms of counts for different attributes and properties of the data. And then you will also be able to open the individual studies in the OHAF viewer. That will have the capability to show both the images and annotations for the data. So here in this example, you will see how you can also search the annotations. So you can subset the data based on what types of segmentation are available for the data set. So here, if you select data sets that have nodule segmentation, you will be able to see them. And then you can also, you will be able to filter based on the size of the nodule and then open those relevant data sets in the viewer, see the annotation as overlay on the image. The capabilities IDC will provide to explore, query, and visualize the data will be complemented by the data sets that are stored on the cloud and available either as files through the Google Cloud Platform storage buckets or in the metadata tables that will be stored in the BigQuery component of the Google Cloud Platform. So utilizing these repositories of data, the user will be able to either retrieve and replicate the data on a virtual machine or submit very detailed queries to more precisely refine the cohorts. So availability of the data through the buckets and through the BigQuery table will allow to use off-the-shelf tools for big data analysis that are provided by Google. One of those tools is Google Data Cloud platform that allows to build dashboards and exploration dashboards that are interacting with the tables stored in BigQuery. So what I am showing here is a dashboard that can be built literally in a matter of probably 20 minutes that is interfacing BigQuery table hosted by IDC. So if there is a certain facet that is not available in the IDC portal, you will be able to configure a dashboard to interrogate that aspect of data, as we show here in this example by exploring the values of the model, manufacturer model name. You will also be able to interact with the data through Google Colab notebooks. And for those not familiar, Google Colab is a cloud-based instances of notebooks that don't require you to install anything. You can easily use those notebooks to experiment with the analysis tools. You can interact with the data in the storage buckets or BigQuery. and install Python packages that you need for your analysis. And you can also very easily share the analysis workflows implemented in Google Colab notebooks with your colleagues to support reproducibility. And by the way, the IDC viewer that I showed you, which is included with our portal, can also be invoked as a standalone tool from the notebook to support visualization of the data sets of your interest. Now, once you are confident that the cohort you have established is what you actually need, you can deploy your tools on a virtual machine that you can create on Google Cloud Platform, either as part of the Compute Engine offering, or you can also deploy a VM with AI notebooks. And this gives you significant leverage over the configuration of the hardware on the system. You can choose what kind of GPU, how much memory you want to have. And you can also customize what are the libraries you want to have installed on that virtual machine. So with just a few clicks, you can have a fully functional machine that you can spin up in seconds, and you can shut it down as soon as you completed your analysis to avoid unnecessary costs. So how do we do all of this? I want to talk next about some of the key components of the technology that we are using, and the foundation of everything is, of course, the data. We at IDC are required to give you the interfaces to search the data and in the future integrate the data with the resources available in other components of CRDC. And because of that, metadata is extremely important. So we need to handle all different types of data. We need to handle not just images, but also results of analysis and be able to integrate those with, for example, clinical data. And be very flexible about what is coming in the future and what kind of data and users we will need to support in the future. So we need some standards in order to support that capability. And in IDC, we standardize on DICOM. Is the standard that we demonstrated in the past is very capable to support not just the clinical capabilities, but also research use cases in supporting various types of analysis results and annotations. So we aim to have all of the data available in IDC encoded in the standard DICOM object representation. There are many collections that are already available in TCIA that are following this approach and include various types of analysis results as standard DICOM objects. Visualization is the next component. In order to support the capabilities that I demonstrated to you in the video, we need to have a viewer that first works with DICOM representation of the data. We want to be able to show annotation results. We want to be able to extend the capabilities of the viewer to accommodate new types of data and new types of annotation. And we need to support this capability without having to install anything. So integration with the cloud backend for the viewer is of critical importance. In IDC, we achieve this by using OHIF viewer. And this is a zero footprint viewer that has been developed with the support from NIH funding. It's being used broadly in various academic and commercial projects, and it supports integration with DICOM web interface, and that's the component that we leverage in IDC. Over the past year, as we were working towards the initial release of IDC, we worked a lot with the OHIF team to add features that we decided are important to have for the users of IDC. A big focus of that was support of derived data, visualization of segmentation, and structured reports. All of the capabilities that we have implemented in OHIF and contributed to OHIF is available as open source and can be used by any project that is using OHIF. The architectural foundation of our platform is Google Cloud Platform. It's a very capable infrastructure that has been developed, has been maintained by Google over the past years. It includes a broad range of tools to support analysis and exploration of large data. BigQuery, for example, allows to query very large tables in a very reasonable time. The compute infrastructure is very flexible to spin up virtual machines that are suitable for the analysis of imaging data. And Google Cloud Platform natively implements support for the DICOM API through the Cloud Healthcare API. So that's the foundation of IDC in that sense. Over the past year, our work concentrated on how to organize the data in buckets and in the BigQuery tables. We have been refining our extract, transform, load, ETL processes, and this work has been done with in very close collaboration with both the Google Healthcare team and TCIA and NBIA teams. So I mentioned TCIA several times by now, and for those of you who are familiar with TCIA, the initial question is what is the relationship between IDC and TCIA? We work very closely with TCIA, and both IDC and TCIA, their goals are to develop the curation processes for imaging data and to deliver fair, standardized imaging data to cancer researchers. While TCIA focus is on curation of data, the identification of data, and hosting of data to support download, our focus is to enable cloud-based hosting and analysis and make sure that the data available in IDC is tightly integrated with the rest of the Cancer Research Data Commons infrastructure. We work very closely with TCIA to support harmonization of the analysis results and data curation and development of API to integrate these two resources. So we have a very close partnership and very productive partnership so far. As I mentioned before, Imaging Data Commons is just one of the nodes in the bigger CRDC infrastructure. Other components include such nodes as proteomics and genomics data commons. And of course, the question is how the integration of data across those different resources will be delivered to the end user. So this capability is going to be supported by the Cancer Data Aggregator, which is a recently funded component of CRDC. It's been funded through a contract mechanism and was awarded, I believe, this year. The initial release is planned for spring next year. And as the initial use case, this resource will support integration of data for H10, Human Tumor Atlas Network. And following that, they are going to investigate how data from other existing nodes, such as genomics and proteomics, data commons nodes will be integrated with the rest of the infrastructure of CRDC. Cancer Data Aggregator will be providing API to query various types of data in different nodes of CRDC, and then the computational tools within CRDC, namely cloud resources, will support the users in utilizing this API to retrieve the data, identify cohorts across different resources, and support the computational exploration. So I know it's not a lot that I can say about CDA right now, but it's a new project, and I'm actually not part of the team developing CDA. So this is a capability that's coming soon next year in CRDC, and we will learn more about this then. Finally, I want to conclude saying that together with the availability of the platform, we also will have the documentation and forum to support IDC community. We really want to establish a venue for open conversation and interaction between IDC users and IDC developers. And we hope that you will participate in that community and will ask your questions there. We also plan to have resources to support experiments and pilot use cases utilizing IDC for your research. So you will be able to apply for credits to use for computation on IDC, and we will have all of that documented as part of our documentation for IDC when we go live. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please visit the consortium website shown on the screen. That's our main public-facing resource for now. Thank you.